order, you typically give your mobile number or your home number or whatever else, your telephone number as the contact number, right? So that is used to identify you as a individual. If I use a census information, I don't have access to the unique, the PII, the personal identification information.
So all acquisition efforts would be, you may not be able to personalize that much as you could do.
Well, what we do for acquisition is, we can run a campaign, for instance. Let's say, we do this all the time on, let's say on Facebook, right? So the Pizza Hut has a nice brand page, home page, and on that brand page we say, okay, here is a Facebook application, and you transact through it. So you basically give your, let's say, your first name, last name, whatever. You give registration data, and then we will give you a 20% off or some offer in return. So that is your acquisition channel, if you will, right?
Thanks.
Excuse me, I have one question.
Yes.
Yeah, other than a PaaS system, third-party data, and social media, do you have any other data sources?
So yeah, here is all the data sources. So call center,
Okay.
right? Call center has its own CRM system. That is a data source, because call center is typically, at least for the pizza industry, the de facto channel for order intake. Of course, they're all moving into online ordering systems where you can bypass some person on the phone and you can place your order directly. So that is the biggest trend at least in this industry. So that is typically based on an e-commerce ordering platform, right? That would again act as a source for data. I already mentioned acquisitions can take place through your typical social media platforms like Facebook. Increasingly in Singapore, what they're moving towards is bypassing the whole online ordering channel and coming up with Pizza Hut as its own mobile application. The advantage with the mobile application is you have a deeper insight into the customer, because once you install a mobile app on your phone, the guy who's given you the mobile app has all kinds of data on you already, right? So for instance, they may have something, they certainly have your MAC address, which is uniquely identifiable. They also have access to maybe, depending on what the what is there in the disclosure, right? They may have access if you've added your social graph as one of the things that you enabled them, they can have access to that. So again, but more importantly, they have access to your location at any point in time, which is where they can do location-based marketing. So if you're within the radius of a particular store that has a store-specific promotion, yeah, I mean they can send you only you, because of geofencing, they can send you an offer. So basically, so the transaction, from a call center could be something as generic as, hey, customer ordered $150 worth of, pizza for home delivery, at a certain timestamp, day and timestamp. Now you're also getting the order details, right? So you can get to know that the order was actually for 5 regular pizzas with certain toppings, garlic bread, 4 drinks, whatever. Then you also have, the other things come from the inventory database, right? So you collate all of these into your warehouse, and when you collate it, you're also using things like promotions. Hey, did they apply a particular promotion which is tagged with a certain coupon series? So you know exactly where the promotion was made, when it was made, which channel, whether it's Facebook or email or direct, mailer or whatever it is, right? Because each promotion has a certain distinctly identifiable coupon series. You also know the location, because hey, that's where the order was placed, right? So in other words, you can now start doing the catchment analysis. And then you build the profile of the customer, which is, hey, you know who placed the order. It's a female student, the past history. Okay, they love veggie toppings, and they typically like to party with 5 people because, you know, they're typically placing orders for maybe 3 or 5 pizzas. So you start building that sort of profile, right? And then you also know the feedback. Hey, you know that this particular order was delayed, but still the customer is a fan because they liked the quality of what you served. So you're collating all of this data, which is the order information or the transaction information with the demographic information, with the inventory, with the promotions, and the location or the store data, and the feedback. All of this goes into building up the customer's profile in your marketing data warehouse. Demographic is like, who, was it a male, was it a female, what is the approximate age group? In this case, we already know, right? So you know who's placing the call. So the person taking the order typically knows male, female. You can also use, yeah. I mean, you can, so you know the delivery address, maybe not in India because it's a little bit more complex to get the demographic data at the street level, but elsewhere, if I give a street address or a house address, let's say in the UK, I can get to know exactly how many people live there, what is the age group of each resident. I can also get to know the household income. I can also get to know the education levels of all the residents. I can get a heck of a lot of data, right? Same thing in the US. US actually makes this even more public. There's something called the Tiger database, which is actually created by the US Bureau of Census, which maintains the householding information. And all you have to do is interrogate the database with a standardized address.
How do you match it? I mean, that customer, like on what key or what?
The customer is, it depends on the country, but in most countries, you always, at least in this scenario, you are identifying the customer using the contact telephone number. Typically, it's a mobile number. Not very frequent. I mean, there are, maybe 8-10%, changes. So when that takes place, yes, there is a process by which we can migrate all of the prior history to a new number, especially if we, the customer themselves is saying, hey, my number has changed, right? But if we are not able to do that, then obviously then it's going to be, that person would be treated as a new customer. But then we would do the match and merge. Even if it's treated as a new customer, if we know that, hey, the number is now tagged to the same address, then we can do the match and merge and indicate that, hey, a new customer is actually an old customer whose number has changed, but they forgot to inform us.
My question is about the quality of data. The same customer could be sometimes ordering online. Sometimes he may be actually walking into the store. Right? Sometimes he may buy online. Sometimes he may be walking into the store. When he walks into the store, he may not give any of his information. He may just order, wait there and eat it and go away. Some other times he may ask his kid to place the order. So the kid will use his mobile phone or his login on the website to place the order. So there are so many ways the data quality can get diluted. So how will you still be able to make meaningful insights out of it?
Yeah, that's a good question, and that's why omni-channel, even though everyone talks about it, is not that easy to solve because there are a lot of outliers and boundary conditions. But in your case, what you're saying is if the person transacts, let's say, typically online or through mobile app, but now he just walks in, places an order, the first question that the cashier asks is, hey, can you tell us your mobile number or whatever. If the person doesn't share, yes, then the data is going to get diluted because the transaction is going to be lost. But there is always an incentive presented to the customer to share their uniquely identifiable number, identifier if you will, so that they can get some benefit for that, right? No one is going to share, their mobile number or whatever if you did not incentivize that behavior. They will say that because you will say that, hey, you're going to accumulate certain number of points. You may already belong to a loyalty program. If you reach a certain threshold, you get a bunch of free pizzas, etc. Right? There is always that incentivization, and the customer is it's like frequent flyer miles, right? Why do you want to share your frequent flyer number when you fly? Because you know that you build a certain threshold, you will get free rides, etc., or other rewards. Same thing.
So one in extension to that question, is there any mechanism in your system? Is there any mechanism in your system? Suppose the scenario is like that. I'm staying at Bangalore. My daughter is staying in Kolkata, and my wife is in Bombay. And all three of us are very fascinated about pizza and all. By some demographic information, can you offer something good to the whole family members?
Yeah.
So
it depends on
household
program.
is possible that way, extended household, not.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so we run loyalty programs for all kinds of customers, including, I don't know whether you guys transact with something like Lifestyle, which is part of the Landmark group, right? So there we have something called a friends and family circle, which means that multiple people can share the same identifier. It may not be a mobile number, it could be an external identifier, like a loyalty card number or whatever, right? So you can have a group of people now participate in building, or accumulating points and working towards the same goal. We don't have it in pizza, right? So we don't do it in the pizza industry, but we do it in other areas, in other retail environments.
So one question I have is, if you look at the prior slide, would you consider some of the comparative information, like let's say by a zip code? Let's say there's a Pizza Hut that is open, and then there's a Domino's which is coming up 500 meters down the road in US zip code, and you suddenly see a dip in your loyal customers going from Pizza Hut to Domino's. It could just be that the traffic is moving from store A to store B. Are you tracking that kind of information?
Absolutely, we do that. We call that catchment analysis. So that's actually done very often. It's actually a very important analytical technique. We obviously don't have access to Domino's customers, right? But what we do is we see this problem more often in retail environments which are opening stores, multiple stores in the same city. Marks and Spencer's is a good example. So they opened a bunch of stores in Delhi, Bombay. Now they suddenly started expanding in Bombay, opening lots of stores. And then they started saying, hey, yes, our overall sales are increasing, but some of our stores are complaining that there is a dip in the number of customers. We don't know where these guys are disappearing. Are they disappearing to competition, or are they coming to the new stores? And if they're coming to new stores, why are they coming to the new stores? Is it because there are certain categories that are being carried in the new stores that's not in the old stores? Or maybe there's more variety.
But what the example that you're giving is more of cannibalization by the same group, right?
Right.
But what I am talking about is your competitor opening up stores close by and getting some of your customers. That's a different,
Yeah, but that's very difficult to, you can only speculate, or you can come up with some sort of a probabilistic model, but very difficult to actually say that, hey, there's a dip here because Domino opened, 2 blocks down the road. It could be, for that you need actually, you need the transaction data at the other side to definitely indicate that trend.
Or tangential question, because you talked about the competitors being side by side. So, what is the reason why most of the KFCs and McDonald's are side by side?
That's interesting. I mean, because they belong to actually very fierce competitive groups, right? So KFC, McDonald's belongs to McDonald's Corporation, KFC belongs to Yum Brands. So Yum Brands owns Taco Bell, KFC, Pizza Hut. These are the three brands under Yum. They compete very fiercely. So I don't know why they would actually be next to each other in all the places. Pizza Hut and Domino's, I mean, see what happens is there's also a herd mentality, because when a company opens a new store, they do some basic demographic analysis, they make sure the target audience is within a certain radius, etc. And there is also they're trying to minimize cannibalization with other, stores of the same brand. So maybe it's a herd mentality, because, they compete for the same audience. So if Pizza Hut is opened in some area, Domino's will say, hey, Pizza Hut has already probably done the homework here, done the catchment analysis, and let us also open here and compete. Because then they're sort of competing on just price and quality at that time, because the underlying market is the same.
He order, like it's a large metrics, or say for example, is he a regular customer?
Yes.
Those kind of things. So when it comes to customer retention, will you give some specific weightage, which has more weightage in any specific metric compared to others? Is there any pattern you follow for those kind of retention things?
So that's what the life cycle marketer technique uses, right?
Okay.
So we understand, who the customer is, what their past buying patterns have been, when they last transacted, and if they haven't transacted within a certain window based on their profile, then we send them a very personalized and specific offer that incentivizes them to come back and transact. And that offer is not a generic offer. So I'm not going to send, if someone has been buying only veggie pizzas, I'm not going to send them chicken supreme and say, please come back and have this. I will send him something that is very relevant to him based on the past transactions, right? So this is a single view. This is from our product, which is something that with a call center person may see, right? So they will see the person's history, address. They will see some notes that the guy may have taken, the call center agent may have taken. The notes may be like what someone said, which is, hey, is this a male, is this a female? I think it's a young person. Maybe they will ask, hey, what are you ordering for? Is it for a party? So any intelligence is there in the free form notes. Then your preferences, that is again very easy to decipher based on the order information. Recommendations are again very personalized. Active offers are again very personalized, right? Interaction summary, which is, what is the vintage? How many months have they been a customer? What is the average group size? Are they ordering for one person, 3 people? When was the last visit? How many visits in the last 3 months, last 12 months? All of that. Okay. Yes.